In the headlines, the cash flow problems at Emil Gadakan Quarry leaves workers out of pocket in more ways than one. Local evangelical leaders want to protect children from predators lurking in the church. And a united effort to help provide relief supplies for earthquake survivors in Ecuador. I am Andrea Lee with the Channel 5 News. Details after this. Thank you for staying with us. First up, Emil Gadakan AFI expects to resume operations at its local quarries by the end of May, but currently it continues to struggle with ongoing cash flow problems. Idono John-Baptist reports.
This development as Jacques Gadakan met with his managerial staff on Wednesday. Public Relations Officer of Gadakan's local companies, Evans John, says the issue of outstanding salaries to employees is related to not just one factor.
First of all, there was a motor that got damaged during the storm. During the storm, our office was washed away in Coliho, and the motor for the crusher got damaged and had to be repaired. It was sent across to Guadeloupe, and it was costing the company €250,000 to repair that motor. It was sent to France. My information, I don't know if it's the same one, but there is a motor now lying at the customs, which we're hoping to clear today, and we have to pay at least $12,000 duty on that motor. We're hoping to clear it and to start to set it up over the next week, and in 2 weeks' time, maybe we are likely to have operations in Coliho.
John says apart from the storm's damage, recent cases of vandalism and outstanding payments by government for contracted projects have compounded their financial constraints.
Before the storm, we had to lay off a lot of workers because we could not pay. Our water was cut off, electricity cut off, telephone cut off. So we had problems. And several meetings were held with the Ministry of Works, and promises have been made, some money coming in gradually. But the amount that is outstanding, there are a lot of lawsuits pending, court matters pending. Some lawyers understand the situation and just holding back. Some companies understand the situation, just holding back, like Lime. Right? They're just holding back, hoping that we settle because they do not want to penalize the company. There are 2 ladies assigned to the office, compiling outstanding payment to the workers, to companies and agencies.
John says incidents of vandalism, including one in November at the Coliho office, are linked to management's inability to pay some 24 employees.
Carnival Tuesday, around midnight, somebody went in there, or persons went in there. They set the workshop and storeroom on fire. In Layu, the asphalt plant, they broke into there, attempted to steal the batteries, but the person did not succeed. The following week, they broke into the computer room at Layu. Just last week, our site office at Rosalie, where we set up an office with solar lights and everything, so that we can go ahead with the road project. They went in there, they broke into the place, they stole all these solar panels and all the batteries for the solar thing and all the electrical fittings in there.
Church leaders have been cautioned against predators in their midst.
The warning came from Dr. Kenroy Burke of Exusa Consultancies in Barbados, who facilitated a one-day child-friendly schools workshop for evangelical leaders on Friday. Dr. Burke emphasized that the church needs to be a safe haven for children.
Well, one of the first things is that we have to ensure that the environments that they're working in are predator-free. We are quite aware that, unfortunately, the church has been seen over the years as a place where persons can hide. And then there's a whole concept of grace. So after they hide, then they may mess up, and we extend grace, quote unquote, to them without allowing the law to take its full root. So we want to put some of those strategies in place. We also want to make sure that the environments are safe, that there are glass doors where necessary, where children are working, people understand certain protocols, and no one can just walk off the street and walk straight into the space.
Burke says following this workshop, there is a lot that evangelical leaders will learn to do in order to make the church environment more friendly for children.
The whole concept of screening teachers, getting a background information of someone who turns up and says, I want to be a Sunday school teacher, knowing beforehand who that person is and what they're going to be offering, just in case they have a background, being able to nip it in the bud before it goes forward. So we want to ensure that when these facilitators are working with the children, that they have a great understanding of what is necessary, all of the strategies and initiatives that are necessary to be able to ensure that those children thrive and they enjoy life as it is.
The Child Friendly Schools initiative started in Dominica in 2009, and so far workshops have been held for bus drivers, sports teachers, and early childhood educators.
We want to create children who interact in socially skilled and respectful ways, practice positive, safe, and healthy behaviors, contribute ethically and responsibly to their peer group, family, schools, and communities. Surely, you will agree with me that the church has an important role to play in that regard. Looking ahead, the ministry will continue to engage stakeholder groups, including other religious leaders of different denominations, as well as the media, as together we work in the interest of all our children.
The Child Friendly Schools workshops are funded by the United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF.
A 5-member steering committee to lead the way forward for the information technology professionals in Dominica, they were elected on Thursday.
The aim of the executive is to execute the association's plans and policies and to help get it back on track. The committee will be in effect until a new executive is elected sometime before the 1st of July.
The option that members felt that was most important is providing educational and training opportunities for members. So that's definitely something that the association needs to focus on primarily. And the two other most important areas were participating in shaping government IT policy and creating networking opportunities for local, regional, and international IT professionals. So moving forward, these will be the 3 main areas that the association will be focusing on.
Meanwhile, the Director of Telecoms has appealed to IT professionals to help transform the country.
I see no reason why Dominica cannot be a fully wired network and creating jobs critically and using the technology that we have, why we cannot transform Dominica. Begin to use the tools that you have and the expertise that you have. Begin to develop a consciousness of ICT in the schools. You are professionals. Begin to help the teachers to develop a curriculum for ICT in the schools. We already developed a cybersecurity strategy, and we are looking at how we can use that and get people more sensitive to the whole idea of cybersecurity. Meet with the legal fraternity, come up and have sessions, and have forums, and educate the public on the use and non-use and illicit use of cybersecurity.
Thomas told the IT professionals that IT in medicine is seriously being considered for Dominica. He says the country can position itself to lead in information technology.
You have fiber, you have equipment, you go to the health center. While they're at the health center, they log into the Princess Margaret Hospital, and the experts who say there, the physician who say there, will say, okay, yeah, leave the person there, have a smart system right online, the nurse take a look at it, and say, okay, all right, give them this. You can develop your own WhatsApp, your own stuff. But as we say, we are consumers. We don't want to do anything for ourselves. We want to keep just buying and selling our money out. We can become the center of a lot of those things. So the Dominica is actually leading in CARICOM in the area of cybersecurity, and the kind of work that we have done in cybersecurity. But a lot of people don't know that. We have done a lot of work in cybersecurity. In fact, they are using Dominica's work in cybersecurity as a model for small island developing states.
Participants of an ongoing student research conference at the Dominica State College are raising the bar as they study issues impacting economic decline and productivity.
The event is in its second year and is an aspect of the college's economics program in which students conduct research on a topic of their choice. The presentation started on Thursday and will wrap up on the 3rd of May. The event is coordinated by an economics lecturer, Ashma McDougall.
Relative to getting information, we are very dependent on hearsay, as opposed to going out there and actually conducting studies and actually coming to a conclusion. So for example, some students focus their research on agriculture, and so they would have conducted interviews with the Director of Trade, Mr. Mathan Walter, or personnel from the Ministry of Trade. They would have gotten statistics from the documentation center. They were not very successful in getting information and statistics from the statistical office for reasons I don't know. However, the students, regardless of the many limitations, they were successful in actually bridging that gap and successfully completing a research study to the standards, I would say, which are very credible.
A panel of professional judges who have conducted research at the graduate level are providing feedback on presentations.
Right now it's just a course. However, we recognize that with regards to the production of the study that students actually produce, it requires somewhat of a certification. So it's something that we'll have to consider discussing within the academic council, at academic council level, to incorporate for recognizing the students' work throughout the semester.
One such research presented found that small businesses in Dominica do not effectively use technology in their operations, thereby affecting efficiency.
Investments in technology reduces inefficiencies in production and enables businesses to remain competitive in the market. IT has proven to increase output and GDP, most of which, as in the businesses and the firms that invest into technology, are able to avoid the diminishing decline. That means that basically states that when they invest into technology, if they are now able to keep market trends and analyze data a lot better, so they are able to avoid that decline that would occur as a result of diminishing returns, where you increase one input while another stays fixed.
Dominica's cocoa industry is set to realize significant improvement within the next year.
This is the aim of a cocoa sweating and drying house being built in Marigot.
It is the government has taken an initiative to construct a cocoa sweating and drying house in the area of Marigot. And the first phase is completed, which is the foundation and all the other fittings that has to be done. And then we are now approaching in the new financial year to complete the building by putting up the walls and the roof and the other amenities that are required for a proper functioning cocoa sweating and drying house.
GIST says once approval is received from the 2016-2017 national budget, work will continue on the sweating and drying plant. This is part of government's efforts at diversifying agriculture.
The cocoa to be supplied to this facility is coming from the farmers. So we have a program that is ongoing for the last few years as well, maybe 2-3 years, for rehabilitation of cocoa plantations. Many farmers have cocoa planted, but it is all covered under bush and forest and shrub. This is very important in our diversification efforts in agriculture. So this will give the farmers another means, another source of income.
Farmers will receive high-quality planting materials to ensure a high-quality crop.
We no longer produce cocoa plants from seeds. If you planted a seed of a cocoa plant, you are not sure of getting the variety that you started with, mainly because of cross-pollination by insects. The ministry, through the banana company measures, the BAM, we are constructing a mist propagation system for producing cocoa by using cuttings. When this is complete, we will be able to supply farmers with definite types and varieties of cocoa that is desired by the external market, by the local market.
Stay tuned, we'll have more news right after this. Welcome back. Dominicans have an opportunity this weekend to give back to Ecuador, a member country of ALBA, which came to Dominica's rescue following Tropical Storm Erica last year.
Students of Dominica State College and the Ecuadorian counterparts will be stationed at various supermarkets on Saturday to collect donations from patrons. The students are collecting certain food items to be shipped to earthquake victims in Ecuador who are in dire need of food and water. Over 600 people were killed and many others injured and left homeless after a magnitude 7.8 earthquake devastated Ecuador earlier this month.
We are launching a major effort to gather water and food, canned foods and supplies, non-perishable food to send to the people of Ecuador in quick time. Our students themselves are required to bring food and canned foods and water to the college beginning next week. The process is ongoing. We are going to solicit cash for those who haven't got the time to donate food. We'll have an account at National Bank so people can make donations to the relief effort. It is a critical situation in Ecuador. The whole world is responding. Dominica should not be left out, and I know they won't. Dominica are wonderful, giving people. So we are appealing to everyone in Dominica to contribute to Dominica State College Relief Fund and relief effort for the students and the people of Ecuador.
So on Saturday morning from 8 o'clock, we will have the DSC ambassadors, which are the local students, and we will have the Ecuadorian students. They will be in groups and they will go to the different supermarkets, Asafans, Whitchurch IGA, Save-A-Lot, Greens Wholesale, ACS, Miniez, and S-Mart. And they will be there to collect cash or goods from the patrons of these supermarkets.
According to our risk management office, it was very hard, and we have 654 deaths, 12,492 injured people. We have shelters where people live, 26,000 people live without homes, without houses, even without food. It's very hard to talk about this.
Oil, tuna, sugar, salt, beans, water, toilet paper, soap, laundry soap, toothpaste, sanitary towels. Those are things that in Ecuador the victims of the earthquake needs in this moment, because in the first week they received a lot of donations. So nowadays the food is not enough, and we are really happy about the government and the authorities of the State College because of the contribution.
23 individuals are now better versed in assessing juveniles who have committed a crime.
This is in preparation for the enactment of the Child Justice Bill. That's part of the outcome of a 4-day workshop supported by the OECS USA Juvenile Justice Reform Program.
Because the whole reform legislation looks at rehabilitation, also looks at rights-based, and it also takes into account evidence-based. The way in which we're going to treat with juveniles under this new legislation is different from what we are doing now. So initially, any person who is arrested for any offense would have to go through that assessment process. In this bill, there are two sort of levels. You can either go through to the formal court process, or things can happen in a process almost like pre-court. And this is because there's a sort of sifting. It's not everything that will go to court, because even presently there are lots of things that come to court that really should not come to court.
During the workshop, participants were introduced to MACI, which is the Massachusetts Youth Screening Instrument 2, and SAVERY, Structured Assessment of Violence Risk in Youth, two key documents to help guide the assessment process.
Much emphasis, though, was placed on the SAVERY, because SAVERY deals with assessing youth. So you would know if they are likely to reoffend. So when you would have garnered the information from these youth, you're able to identify their challenges, because it's no need for us to reinvent wheel when we can find out what is happening over there in Antigua, what is happening in St. Vincent, to see how best we can come together for one benefit, which is to ensure that our juvenile don't offend. And if they do offend in some way, they don't re-offend.
This workshop is part of preparations leading up to the Child Justice Bill, which it is hoped will soon be enacted by Parliament.
Certain things that are really not in place. There's certain programs to help the juveniles, they're not in place. So the officers know they will have to go and agitate and ensure that the government put the required and necessary infrastructure in place to help these juveniles.
In the draft Child Justice Bill, which we are looking at to have implemented in Dominica as our law to deal with juveniles, one of the main procedures is having an assessment done. This is not something that we do now. Well, we would really hope that it happens later this year, and the OEC's USA Juvenile Justice Reform Project, people would really want that to happen, because Dominica and St. Lucia are the only two countries that haven't really made great inroads into that.
Another workshop for juvenile justice service providers, this time focusing on the legal aspect of the draft Child Justice Bill, will take place the first week in May.
And the region's media has been told to maintain its social responsibility to help promote HIV testing.
Executive Director of Caribbean Broadcast Media Partnership on HIV and AIDS, Dr. Alison Leacock, was asked why it was that almost 10 years after Regional Testing Day was launched, the majority of people living with HIV and AIDS still would not dare identify themselves for fear of stigma and discrimination.
And in my view, there is no media house that can be so driven by the commercial imperative that they forget their social responsibility in communities the size of ours in the Caribbean. And as a result, I think it is important that we continue to sensitize the media, that we build partnerships with many of the civil society organizations who have the issues. And ultimately, we recognize that the stigma begins with me. We keep talking about the stigma as if it's something out there. Well, it's an indictment on us as a people, that people who are living with HIV do not feel comfortable and safe to disclose their status.
Dr. Leacock says this fear of being identified lingers still, even if HIV and AIDS can be managed like any non-communicable disease such as high blood pressure.
HIV is a chronic disease now. It's fairly similar to diabetes. The only distinction with HIV is that in the Caribbean it's primarily transmitted through sexual activity. And we continue to behave as though nobody has sex, that we're all here by immaculate conception. We keep feeling uncomfortable talking about it, as if it's this sin, when the fact of the matter is, from where I sit, this is something that is happening. It is a public health issue. And none of us has the right to judge another. So until we can remove our sanctimonious self-righteousness from our judgment that we impose on people, a child that is born with HIV did nothing. A wife or a partner that stayed at home and the other partner was either just didn't think and didn't protect themselves and brings it home. What have they done? Why would we judge somebody? So to me, we have to start looking at ourselves. There's no big sin or small sin. And therefore, we need to start seeing people as human beings. And it can happen to anyone.
The national office will scale up its HIV testing efforts from June 9. June 24 is Regional Testing Day.
That's news. We join Kenny Williams next with your sports highlights.
Hello everyone and thanks for joining us. Bouncing off in basketball, where E.H. Charles Crossover and United Insurance Sharks registered wins in Thursday's version of the 2016 Flow DABA League. Crossover beat Sonics 63-49, Lindell Mayers 19, Mercury Edwards 14 and Brandon Laza 12 for Crossover. Sonics' top performer was Cody Hamlet with 18. In the other match, Sharks defeated Police Sports Club 54-50. Top scorers for Sharks were Shambali Blanc 21 points and Ronald Joseph 10. For Police, Marlon Hillier had 14. The league continues on Saturday, where Elijah Law Chambers Thunderers will play E.H. Charles Crossover at 7. Then at 9 it will be Detroit Blazers versus Fast Cash Prowlers. The action will unfold at Massac. Onto the football scene now, where Andy Williams Spartans and Steinman Milham United registered big wins in Thursday's version of the All-Ireland League. Gerald George has more.
The Williams Spartans crushed Petit Savan Dream Team 6-2 at the Puri playing field. Francine Tavernier and Agassi Morrow each found the back of the nets twice for Spartans, with Cheston Morancy and Daniel James scoring one each. Jason Joseph and Juan Eli scored for Petit Savan Dream Team. In a doubleheader at the Newton playing field, time ballers Steinman Midland United made mincemeat of Maxwell Classics Fokole, defeating them 7-2 in the first match. In the second match, Daddy Chess Barford Ambassadors edged out White River Ballers of Dailies 2-1. Ricky Reed and Neil Benjamin scored for Ambassadors. White River Ballers' goal came through an own goal.
Meantime, in the games lined up for the weekend, here is Gerald George with more.
Saturday, Haitian Angels will battle Wayne George Academy at 6 p.m. at the Newton playing field, while at the Benjamin Park, Nemesis United will come up against Wood City Strikers at 3 p.m. And 3 matches are on in the Dumlek Women's League on Sunday, with Bomber Starlights taking on Mahusoka Strikers at 3 p.m. in the first match of a doubleheader at the Newton playing field, to be followed by defending champions New India Goodwill Runners versus Dive Dominica Harlem United at 5 p.m. And at the Benjamin Park, it will be Wood City Strikers versus New Generation Sports Club.
And in the secondary schools girl competition on Thursday, Dominica State College beat Dominica Grammar School 3-0. Romelsia Philip, S. Serra, and Donisha Xavier got 1 each for DSC. Jada St. Jean was a lone goal scorer for DGS. In cricket, 4 matches are on the cards for the weekend in the Dominica Cricket Association leagues. In the Premier League, Marino Blasters will come up against Dominica Cricket Association at the Botanic Gardens, while over at Portsmouth, Summit Sports Club will go head-to-head against Nagico Northern Stars. Those games will play on Saturday and Sunday. Meantime, in the Intermediate League on Saturday, Ruben Bakery Christians will do battle with Marino Blasters, while on Sunday it will be Galileo Hurricanes versus P.H. Williams Stoneridge. Those matches are scheduled for Dublin. The weekend games begin at 10 a.m. Still in sports, Ecuadorians stand to benefit from donations complements the collaborative efforts of Top Glove Boxing Club and the Dominica State College. This, according to the Director of Student Services at the Dominica State College.
And Mr. Job Joseph came up with a wonderful idea that the first boxing match or the first boxing contest that they will have using these rings, the proceeds of it will be going to the Ecuador relief efforts we are doing at the State College.
Over 480 lives were lost following a magnitude 7.8 earthquake earlier this month. Back on the local cricket scene, the Big Edge Gifford Tuse cricket competition will bowl off with 1 match on Sunday. Daswa Sports Club will do battle with Petit Savan Erickson Sports Club at Lindo Park at 2 p.m. In the previous games, Tuco Construction Hammers defeated Kalinago Territory Erickson Sports Club by 82 runs. Final scores: Hammers 172 for 6 all out, Kalinago Territory 90 all out. And the match between Cornells and Petit Savan Erickson Sports Club ended 113 and 111 in favor of Cornells. In women's sports, New India Assurance Celtic will be looking to defend their championship title when they face Spartans in the finals of the 2016 Big Edge Financial Express League carded for May 22. In the semi-final round on Thursday, Spartans defeated Jazz 43-21. For the Spartans, Anna Xavier shot 23 of 29 attempts, Melissa Williams 20 of 35. For the Jazz, Christine John Jules got 2 from 6, Verna Graham 8 from 14, and S. Stevens 11 out of 21. Meantime, May Day weekend will see some action as the Dominica Volleyball Association hosts a beach festival in Margot. Saturday's event will feature teams from around the island showcasing their skills. The event will run throughout the day. That's all the sports for now. I am Kenny Williams. I hope you have an awesome weekend.
Your weather report is next.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I will be your presenter for this evening, Farah Rock Career. Today, a high pressure system was a dominant feature, which resulted in generally partly cloudy skies across the Lesser Antilles. Today, we take a look now at some earlier visible satellite imagery, and what it showed was mainly low-level clouds across the central portion of the Eastern Caribbean. We take a look now at some earlier radar imagery, and what it indicated was the absence of echoes, which translates to no shower activity. The weather tonight is expected to be fair to partly cloudy and slightly hazy with some brief showers. The weather tomorrow is expected to be partly cloudy and hazy with widely scattered showers, mainly during the afternoon period, and the maximum temperatures are expected to be up to 32 degrees Celsius. The marine conditions tomorrow will be slight to moderate, and waves are expected to be up to 7 feet. Let's take a look at the weather for the weekend. Tomorrow, Saturday, partly cloudy and hazy with widely scattered showers in the afternoon period. An increase in moisture is expected to produce mostly cloudy skies with some scattered showers Sunday and Monday. The weather for the rest of the Caribbean tomorrow, again, a high pressure system will be the dominant feature. Therefore, partly cloudy skies with some scattered showers can be expected across the islands. On the international scene, again, some thunderstorm activity expected for Caracas, partly cloudy skies for New York and Miami. Some scattered showers are expected for London, and beautiful clear skies with relatively warm temperatures are expected for Beijing. Tomorrow, the sun will rise at 5:42 a.m. and will set at 6:23 p.m. Feel free to visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us next time for our next weather broadcast. Do have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
To end the news, the headlines again. Cash flow problems at Emil Gadakan Quarry leaves workers out of pocket in more ways than one. Local evangelical leaders warned to protect the children from predators lurking in the church. And a united effort to help provide relief supplies for earthquake survivors in Ecuador. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNewsApril29th2k16. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube page. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Andrea Lee, and to all our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the weekend.